Have you ever wondered why certain stories seem to captivate us more than others? It's not just about the plot twists or the charismatic characters. It's about the universal appeal of storytelling, a craft as ancient as human communication itself. Stories, you see, are more than just tales. They are reflections of our collective unconscious, a term coined by the Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung. But how do stories tap into this unconscious? Through archetypes, patterns of characters or themes that recur in stories across cultures and eras. Whether it's the wise old wizard in a fantasy novel, the star-crossed lovers in a romantic movie, or the underdog in a sports anime, these archetypes resonate with something deep within us, connecting with our subconscious and making the story more impactful. You'd be surprised to know how prevalent these patterns are, not just in books or movies, but in every form of media we consume. Now let's delve into the fascinating world of Jungian archetypes, shall we? Carl Jung, a Swiss psychiatrist, introduced the concept of archetypes in his theory of the human psyche. Now, what exactly are these archetypes? In Jung's theory, archetypes are broadly defined as universal patterns or motifs that come from our collective unconscious. They are the shared experiences of humanity, the common threads woven into the tapestry of our subconscious. Let's delve into the main archetypes that Jung identified, starting with the hero. The hero is the character who embarks on a journey, faces adversity, and ultimately transforms. Think of Frodo in Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter. They start as ordinary individuals, but through their journey they grow and change, often achieving something extraordinary. Next we have the shadow. This archetype represents our hidden desires and instincts, the parts of ourselves that we might prefer to ignore. The shadow can be seen in characters like Darth Vader in Star Wars, who embodies the darker side of the Force, or in the cunning and deceitful Iago from Shakespeare's Othello. Then we have the anima and animus. The anima symbolizes the feminine inner personality in men, while the animus symbolizes the masculine inner personality in women. These archetypes can be seen in characters that challenge traditional gender roles, like Mulan in Disney's Mulan or Arya Stark in Game of Thrones. And finally, we have the self. This archetype represents the unified subconscious and conscious of an individual. It's the goal of the hero's journey, the attainment of wholeness. Characters like Neo in The Matrix, who achieves a state of enlightenment, embody this archetype. These archetypes are not just abstract concepts, they are the building blocks of our stories, the characters we root for, the villains we fear, the journeys we embark on. They exist in every genre, from fantasy to science fiction, from romance to horror. They resonate with us because they tap into our shared human experience, our collective unconscious. You might be surprised just how often these archetypes appear in the stories we love. One of the most prevalent examples of Jungian archetypes in media is the hero's journey. This concept, also known as the monomyth, is a narrative pattern that appears in tales from all over the world, transcending cultural and temporal boundaries. In essence, the hero's journey is a transformative voyage that involves the protagonist or hero venturing from the known into the unknown, battling adversities and returning back transformed. This journey is typically divided into three main stages: departure, initiation, and return. The departure stage is where the hero is called to adventure. They may initially refuse the call due to fear or obligation, but eventually they are persuaded to embark on the journey. This stage is about leaving the familiar behind, stepping into the unknown. It's like Harry Potter receiving his letter from Hogwarts, or Bilbo Baggins being persuaded by Gandalf to join the dwarves' adventure in The Hobbit. Next comes the initiation stage. Here, the hero faces a series of tests and trials, often battling with foes or inner demons. They may encounter allies and mentors who assist them in their quest. This is the stage where the hero truly grows, learning about their strengths and weaknesses. Think of Luke Skywalker learning the ways of the Force and battling Darth Vader in Star Wars. Lastly, we have the return stage. After overcoming the adversities, the hero returns to their ordinary world. But they are not the same. They have gained wisdom, power, or often a boon that can benefit their community. This is the stage where Frodo returns to the Shire at the end of The Lord of the Rings, forever changed by his journey. The hero's journey is more than just a narrative structure. It's a reflection of our own life journeys, our struggles, growth and transformations. We see ourselves in these heroes. Their triumphs become our triumphs, their victories our victories. This profound connection is why the hero's journey resonates deeply with audiences. It's not just a story, it's a mirror reflecting our own heroic potentials. The hero's journey is a powerful narrative structure that resonates deeply with audiences. Another Jungian archetype we often encounter in media is the shadow. This archetype, ladies and gentlemen, is a fascinating one. It represents the darker side of the hero, the antagonist, or simply the parts of oneself that are hidden or suppressed. The shadow is the yin to our hero's yang, the chaos to their order, the darkness to their light. Now, this doesn't make the shadow inherently evil. No. In fact, the shadow's role is essential in the narrative. It embodies traits or desires that the hero must confront or reconcile with. It's the shadow that forces the hero to grow, to change, to become more than they were at the beginning of their journey. Let's take a closer look at some examples. In the realm of literature, Harry Potter's arch-nemesis, the dark wizard Lord Voldemort, serves as the shadow. He is a reflection of what Harry could become if he gave in to his darker impulses. In the Star Wars universe, Darth Vader fills this role for Luke Skywalker, symbolizing the temptation of power and the fear of losing those he loves. The shadow archetype is not confined to books and movies alone. It thrives in television shows and anime as well. In the popular anime series Naruto, the character Sasuke Uchiha is Naruto's shadow. Sasuke's thirst for power and revenge mirrors Naruto's potential for darkness, driving the plot forward and adding depth to Naruto's character. But the shadow isn't always an external entity. Sometimes it's a part of the hero themselves. In Robert Louis Stevenson's Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, the shadow is quite literally the darker side of Dr. Jekyll as Mr. Hyde. This internal struggle between the two sides of a single character adds a rich layer of complexity to the narrative. In essence, the shadow is the catalyst for the hero's transformation. It's the force that challenges the hero, driving them to face their fears, confront their flaws, and ultimately evolve. The shadow, in all its darkness, brings depth and complexity to the story. The shadow challenges the hero, bringing depth and complexity to the story. The anima animus and the self are two other Jungian archetypes that play significant roles in storytelling. Diving into the depths of the human psyche, we encounter the anima and animus. These are the archetypes representing the feminine side of a man and the masculine side of a woman, respectively. They are not about biological gender, but rather the psychological aspects that are typically associated with the opposite sex. In the world of storytelling, the anima and animus often emerge as characters that challenge or complement our protagonist, pushing them to confront and integrate these aspects of their personality. Take, for instance, a male character who learns sensitivity and empathy, traits traditionally associated with femininity, through his interactions with a strong female character. Conversely, a female protagonist might discover her assertiveness and leadership, qualities often linked with masculinity because of a compelling male character. These story arcs resonate with us because they reflect our own internal journey towards psychological integration and wholeness. Now, let's turn our attention to the self. This archetype represents the unified consciousness and unconsciousness of a person. It's the culmination of a character's journey towards self-realization and the integration of their various aspects, including the anima or animus. In storytelling, the self is often depicted as the fully actualized hero, the individual who has integrated the light and dark, the masculine and feminine, the conscious and unconscious. In media, these archetypes are not just constructs, but are, in fact, instrumental in character development. They help to create multi-dimensional characters that audiences can identify with on a profound level. These characters are not just heroes or villains, male or female, but rather they are reflections of our own complex human nature. These archetypes bring balance and completeness to our characters and stories. They represent our quest for wholeness and self-realization, a journey that is as internal and psychological as it is external and physical. And it's through this journey that our stories resonate, that they become more than just tales, but mirrors of our own human experience. These archetypes bring balance and completeness to our characters and stories. So why do these archetypes have such a profound impact on us, you may ask? Well, it's all about our collective unconscious. This concept, put forth by Carl Jung, suggests that we share a set of ideas, feelings, and images that reside in the deepest level of our psyche. These archetypal elements have been passed down through generations, allowing us to connect with stories on a profound level. When a book, movie, TV show, or anime taps into these universal themes, it resonates with us, creating a deep emotional connection. It's this connection that often makes a story popular, as it speaks to something inherently human in all of us. We see ourselves in the hero, we grapple with our own shadows, and we strive for wholeness, much like the characters we come to love and understand. So the next time you're engrossed in a story, take a moment to see if you can spot these archetypes. You might find that understanding them adds a whole new layer to your enjoyment.